Okay, so good day. Today is Yudalef Adar, and it's Tainus Esther, and we're in the middle of Tanya, the Hagdama to the second section, called Shari Yichud Ve'emunah, but in the Hagdama he calls it Chinuch Katan, and we're on page 150. Please go to the second column, on the left-hand column on 150. V'hashenis. We started yesterday, but we'll repeat those lines as well. It's about 7 lines from the beginning of the second column. And the Alter Rebbe now is explaining the second type of ava, love for Hashem, that every person can attain. It's not just for tzaddikim, and the connection to his overall principle we'll see a little later in the Hagdama. So let's read it inside. Vashenis, and the second type of ava, ava shekol odom. It's a type of a love that every person yuchol lagia leo, that every person can attain it. How? Kishiyazboinen heitiv. When the person will meditate well, the umka de liba, from the depth of his heart, bidvarim hamoerim es ava. He will meditate on things that arouse the love. Like I told you yesterday, if you don't meditate on the proper things, you're not arousing love for God. What those things are, we're going to see in a moment. And that will arouse a love, LaHashem, belev kol Yisrael. And the Alter Rebbe says, Hein derech klal. This meditation on these issues will make a general impact, but derech klal is general. And that is, here he begins the first meditation, which we learned about. We learned this in chapter 43 and 44. Ki hu chayenu mamish. He says, the Alter Rebbe says, Hashem is our actual life. The kasher odem oyeves nafshe b'chayav. And just as a person loves his own life, a person wants to live, Kein Yav es Asher Hashem, so a Yid will have love for Hashem, Kashi is Bainin v'yosem elibay, when he will meditate and make his heart pay attention, Ki Hashem hu nafsho hu amitis, that a God is a Jew's true nefesh, true soul, v'chayav mamish, and Hashem's actual life, as it says in the Zohar HaKadosh, in the Holy Zohar, al posik, on the verse, nafshi, Hashem says, I put myself, nafshi, my soul, ivisicha, desires you. In other words, since a Jew's neshama is God, because Hashem put himself into the neshama, as we learned earlier in Tanya chapter 2, that every Yid has a chelik elokami mal mamish, so we actually have a part of Hashem within ourselves. Therefore, ivisicha, I desire you, I lust for you in a spiritual sense, in a holy sense. What's the Alter Rebbe saying here? The Alter Rebbe is saying here that this type of ava is klal. You see, the words after the period, when he starts this thought, he says, Hein derech klal. Why is this love called derech klal? Because the idea of wanting to live is something that every person, every human being that's sane and normal wants to have. Right? Ki hi chayenu mamish. It's just a matter of waking up and realizing, God, you're my life. You give me life. We're here today at this year because we woke up. Who gave us back our neshama? Hashem. Chayenu. So therefore, this is a cloud. This isn't yet details, intricate details, which is going to get to soon. So this is but you have to meditate. You have to be mizbainin on this thought. If you don't take the time to think about that kihu chayenu, that Hashem is our love, and because he gives us our life, and I'm alive just because of him, you're not going to have any feeling of ava to Hashem. So therefore, you have to meditate. You have to be mizbainin. But the content, the teichen of these bonenus over here is derech klal. Now he continues. Vehein, then he says there's another type of meditation that's necessary, but this he calls already derech prat, a specific one. And what is that? And he says, when a person will reflect and understand Hashem's greatness, derech pratis, in a specific way, not just in general way. God, I'm alive because of you. That's a very general thought. No, but how am I alive? Why am I alive? For who am I alive? That's called prat. That's specific. That's details, okay? So we have a generalization of meditation that involves a generalization. I'm alive, and thank you for keeping me alive and making me alive. Then we have derech prat, details within life. How am I alive? This situation, that's derech prat. And he continues. He says, every person with their own intelligence will come to a certain conclusion how specifically God keeps me alive. In other words, we're all here, right? Now here's the question. Where did we get here? Where did we start? Where did we travel? What did we do? There's no two of us alike over here that can say, I know exactly, my story is exactly, Isser's story is exactly like Moshe's. It doesn't work that way. You might have met at Ann Arbor at university, very, very nice. But, Moshe had his background when he was a child. Isser had yours. Therefore, there's no two alike. It doesn't exist. Remember that klal. It's one of the important survival and thriving methods of a person to continue on is you are not dispensable. Every person is indispensable. But I look alike, I feel alike, the guy can do the same thing. No, he can't. So the Alter Rebbe says it over here, what I just said, using his words. That b'derech prat, the hisbonenus, b'derech prat, the meditation in a specific way, brings forward nuances and differences that excite you, but doesn't excite someone else. Ki hi chayenu, the idea of the meditation that God is our life, and I'm thankful that here. What's the difference? Chaim and Avram and myself, every one of us, right? We're all thankful we're here, and we just have to wake up and realize every day to give thanks to Hashem. Ki chayenu. That's a generality. There's no differences. But then you talk about another type of meditation, which is very important. A hisbonenus pratis, it's called in the terminology of Chabad Hasidus. Hisbonenus pratis. And what does the Alter Rebbe say it is? He says, every person can feel, look at the words, kasha yuchel se'esh besichloi. My intellectual realization is not yours, Chaim, and yours is not mine. Every one of us has a different seichel, a different brain, a different amount of intelligence, a different application of how we use our seichel. Says the Alter Rebbe, fine. That's why it's derech prat. Must you understand? That's why it's individualized. It's custom made to you. No two people think alike. I mean, sometimes we use that aphorism, we think alike. But the truth is, we don't think alike. You're not a clone. There's no cloning over here. Every person is an individual with a specific uniqueness. And that's why every time you have a chance, you meet someone, embrace them. Embrace them because they offer something other than you. Wow. In shul this morning, the aliyahs went, today's a fast day, $25 they sold the aliyahs. And then for shlishi, so the kohen got, the shlishi was given to someone who comes into shul and he looks, he looks, broken. And I don't know who bought it. I have a hunch who bought the aliyahs. And he could have taken himself the aliyah, okay? No, he chose to give the aliyah to a Jew who, he feels he wants to exalt him, elevate him, give him a boost because he walks around like he's broken, okay? So now, when you meet this type of Yid and this type of Yid on the street, in the store, in the shul, embrace everyone because everyone has something unique. Remember, I used to tell you, in the early days of the shul Shabbos, where I daven at in the morning now, right? So 20, 25 years ago, sometimes I'd be there 1, 2 in the morning because for whatever reason I fell asleep, and then they have Ma'ariv till 3 in the morning. I've told you all this, I don't want to repeat it. At that time, they still allowed what I call the characters to come into shul. Now they've basically done it, I don't want to use that Nazi slogan, but like they cleaned up, no sleeping in the shul, and some of those people passed away. It's a different, there's no one to talk to at 2, 3 in the morning anymore. And the board, some of which live in Flatbush, but their parents lived in Borough Park,
You gotta go up to the 3rd floor.
Yeah, you gotta go to the 3rd floor. Even they're may be a little easier on the 3rd floor where you can lay down on a few chairs and sleep. But what's my nakuda? What's my point? What I found fascinating is, besides being so humbled and be so thankful to Hashem, and it is the idea of really seeing the Yiddish people. And the Yiddish people are all kinds. It's always was that way. It's always going to be that way. It's like you wonder when Mashiach comes and it says everyone will be healthy and well, you mean to say, some of these characters are not going to be characters anymore? The answer is they'll be characters within their realm. Anyway, I don't want to belabor the point because, again, we're going to go off on the tangent. But the Nekuda the Alter Rebbe says here is the derech prat. And that's what I mean, the individual, the derech prat. Let's continue. And he says, so not only does every individual have a brain capacity to understand what they can understand, but also there are things that transcend, is the English word. They go beyond the logic. Well, guess what? Every one of us relates to that also very differently. For example, faith, emunah, right? Emunah is a makif. Emunah is a generality, right? You can't say my nose and my nose has one type of emunah, and my eyes have another type of emunah. No. Emunah is emunah. If you have emunah, every part has emunah is a makif, right? So shalamayla meseichel. There are things that are above logic that you believe. You don't have a way of grasping it with your mind, right? Try to grasp what happened October 7th. Yeah, you could blame him or her and this and that, but at the end of the day, if we cannot understand and feel and say that it came from Hashem, we better go back to grade school with our emunah. And it's not about better, it's not about threatening. Everything comes from God. Everything from Hashem. Now, can we make, changes in the sense of more or less? Or, yeah, Chazal say, through these Maisim Tovim, Tzedakah, Tshuva, Tefillah, Tzedakah, it's all true. But at the end of the day, the Eibishter, God, Hashem, is the one in control. So this idea of L'mayla Me'aseichel also depends on your seichel ability, on your individualistic ability. One person has more faith, one person has less faith. One person will seek to justify and explain what happened with logical explanations, and one person will say, stop with all this. It doesn't make any sense. This was a gzeira, or whatever you want to call it. God, Hashem wanted this to be. I don't know why. Right? We had a Holocaust. Who knows why? Anyone who knows why. Anyone knows why, is in deep trouble. Because if you know why did you stop it? You couldn't stop it last time. You weren't born or you weren't, so stop it next time. You couldn't stop it October 6th, 7th either. And you couldn't stop it in 1492 when there was a Spanish Inquisition. And you couldn't stop it in 1910 when the pogroms in Romania over there. I forget now the city. No. So, Kishinev, 1910 or 1919, or whatever. So, the Nakuda is the individual plays an important role, our individuality. And I'm pointing this out because, many people have an issue with Judaism, with Torah, because at the end of the day, if it's all Hashem and we're all supposed to listen to Hashem, where's my individuality? That, the famous question, where is my individuality? Where does Hashem in Torah give a person a real place for their own individuality? And the Alter Rebbe says, here he does. Because even your emunah, how much emunah do you have, and how much of the emunah is relevant and practical in your life depends on you. Depends on your individuality, who you are. Let's continue now. And he says, and afterwards, Yizboinim bi'avas Hashem. So far he told us two types of meditations. Kihu chayenu, number one, which is general. Then he says a prat, which is the idea of a person using their seichel to understand Hashem and both every aspect of God. And he says, "V'achgach yizboinin be'avas Hashem hagdoila v'niflo eleinu," in Hashem's great love for us. Leilit limitzrayim, that Hashem descended to Egypt, ervas ha'oretz, the shamefulness of the earth. To take our souls out of the kind of ironclad, the problems of Mitzrayim, Shehu Sitra Acher, which is the Sitra Acher, the negative forces, Rahman al-Islam. And why did he do that? To bring us closer to him, and to make us cleave and attach ourselves Bishmoy mamish to Hashem's name. V'hu, and Hashem, Ushmoy, and his name, Echad are one. Dahainu, Shreimimanu. Look what the Alter Rebbe's words are. Hashem exalted us. He elevated us. Mitachlis hashiflus, from the ultimate of lowliness. Go to the top of page 80. Ayin Vav, right-hand column. The Hatuma, he elevated us from this lowliness, the ultimate, Tachlis HaShiflus, V'Hatuma, and contamination, spiritual contamination, L'Tachlis HaKedusha, and where did Hashem take us? Not just one level higher, Yoini, but boom, he takes us from the filth and the schmutz, and he picks us up and brings us out to the ultimate of Kedusha, the Gdulasin, and the greatness is Baruch of God, She'elu Ketz, which has no end, V'Tachlis. So when we realize this is, by the way, chapter 46 in Tanya. We learned this in chapter 46, Perek Mem Vav. When we realize that, Azai Kimayim Alponim, the Alter Rebbe, remember, cited the verse, like the face of water reflects back on water. Decided Ha'ava Belev Kol Maskim. Then every person who meditates will have this love. Was Beina Bin Yazen. He will meditate on this. Birumka Deliba, to the depths of his heart. Lev is Hashem. To love Hashem Bi'ava Aza, with a mighty love. Uludaf Keboy, to attach to Hashem Belev and Nefesh, with heart and soul. Kameshi Yizboyer, as we will explain again, not Nizboyer with a nun, but Yizboyer, proving that the Alter Rebbe wanted to publish this Chelik Sheni as Chelik Rishon, but for whatever reason he didn't, as we've spoken about at length. But Mekaymis Barichas and other places in Tanya, which is over here referring to chapter 46. So these are the two things. The Alter Rebbe says these two or three types of meditations is within the human being's capacity and ability to attain. The first Ava is Ava of Tzadikim, Ava Rabba, an abundant love, like you said in chapter 43 in Tanya, which is Shalev Esayla Meleh, it's automatic, and it's Matona, it's a gift, you're right? And this is one that we generate and create through his bonus. Now says the Alter Rebbe, V'hinei inyin Ava zu, this, regarding this second Ava, not the first one, Moshe Rabbeinu desired to plant it within the heart of every Jew. In the Parsha, the Torah of Ati Yisrael, it says, what does God ask of you? And so the answer is, God asks of you to meditate on these ideas. And then there's another pasuk there. God, Hashem is in heaven. He desired your ancestors, and therefore you had the circumcision. B'shiva nefesh, and with 70 souls, it's all in the psukim over there. With 70 souls, we descended into Mitzrayim, etc. And you shall love Hashem. Regarding this Ava, the second type of Ava, says the Alter Rebbe, Hashem says, I command you. Regarding the first Ava, you can't say I command you. You can't command someone to be a tzaddik. You can't command someone to have an experience which we call neshama, not nefesh, not ruach, neshama, as you spoke about earlier. So what do you mean I command you? And number two, what does it mean to command love? Love, either you have it in your heart or you don't have it. You either feel it or you don't. Says the Alter Rebbe, you're right. Regarding the first Ava, the tzaddikim, that higher level, you cannot say I command you, and you can't say you must love. But regarding the second one, you can. You know why? Because the command is not on the love, the command is on the meditation. So when a person says, gives you the excuse, I don't feel it. I just don't feel, putting on tefillin in the morning, I don't feel anything, I'm like a stone. The answer is, learn to meditate. You're right, you don't feel. God can't command you to feel. You don't turn off faucet and the water comes out. But if you put the right pipes in, and you set up the whole situation, which would be in the moral, you learn the right material. And two, you meditate on the material. You contemplate. And like I told you yesterday, you don't rush. Then you will have the right type of faucet with the water. And then the result will be a love. Let's look inside. See, Ava, so you believe, this is what we call a love that's made in the heart. It's created in the heart. Ayidei Habina, through the Bina Vadas, by meditating and reflecting and concentrating on concepts that arouse the love. And this is what Hashem commanded us. Hashem already commanded us early in the Torah. Part of the Shema. These are the words I command you today. On your heart. Today. Why is there instruction to meditate on these things? In order to have and develop a love. Kedisa b'sifri al posik zeh. V'hinei, says the Alter Rebbe now. Al ava zu hashenis. Very clearly he says, I'm not talking about the first type of ava. The tzaddik like ava. The second like ava, shayach loshem mitzaveh. The language mitzvah is applicable vitzivui, mitzvah vitzivui. Dahainu, losem, he repeats, losem liboy vidaitoi, to make your heart pay attention and your mind pay attention. On what? B'dvarim hama'erin v'za'avo, by reflecting on things that arouse the avo. Avo, but regarding the first level of love that we spoke about, shehi shalev v'sa'oila, next column on the Ayin Vav, left-hand column, which is the flame that flickers automatically, leishayach loshen tzivui u'mitzaveh klal. You can't say command and the word tzivui, command, klal. V'lo yoid, ela shehi matan schorin shel tzadikim. That's what we call a reward for tzaddikim. To have a taste of what it's like and what will be in Olam Haba in the world to come. While Be'olam Hazeh, tzaddikim have this taste. Remember, it's only a taste. They have it while they're here. They get a taste of Olam Haba. Shalel Nebar, upon which the verse says, the pasuk says, Avodas Matones Kneskonaschem, the service of the gifts I give to the Kohanim. As we'll explain in its place. Now here comes the Alter Rebbe with a very interesting thought. And he says that even tzaddikim, surely Beinanim, that have this first level, this gift that they give him, they have ups and downs. And this, my friends, is a very important concept because we see it. You know, sometimes you hear a story about a tzaddik having a depression or this or that. I would say it falls into this category. Let's look what the Alter Rebbe says. It's known. In other words, it's known to those that know. You gotta be Chaim Zev a Yodeya. You gotta be in touch with the spiritual realities, you know. Time of the crow, the verse says, Kisheva yipul tzaddik v'kom. 7 times the tzaddik will fall and get up. Specifically, a person who's called a walker, and not someone who just stands and is static at one place. One has to go constantly from level to level, and not to be only on one level. Between each level, before he gets to the higher level, a higher, he then is considered fallen. Right? You have to climb the level, seven ladders, 7 levels. Before you get to the higher level, you already fall from the previous level. Now, what is this concept briefly? The Gemara says that Zayda, when he wanted to learn Talmud Yerushalmi, he had to fast. Some Me'at Tadis, he had to fast 100 fasts. Why? Because in order to learn Yerushalmi, he had to forget Bavli. And that's a Peladic Gemara. What does that mean? You have to forget. You're not allowed to forget Torah. So Chassidus explains, there are different explanations. Chassidus explains that in order to go into an experience, a level that is transcendent, way different, not just a little more, a little less, a different category, you can't bring with you what you know from before, because it's a contradiction. Right? You can't. When can you say, listen to this, Chavre, when can you say that the first step aids the second step when there's an association, a yachas in Hebrew is the word. There's a yachas between the two. So you're first here, then you go up, and gradually. But if you're going from one level to the next level, and the other level is way beyond you, you have to do a cold turkey act. Okay? You got to stop cold turkey, whether it be smoking, drinking, or gaiva, and the Rambam says it. What does the Rambam say? The normal way is the derech hamitzvah, the middle way. But if you have an acute spiritual illness or character flaw, you have to go to an extreme until you get back to the middle. Now, so the Gemara, when Reb Zayda had to learn Yerushalmi, there's no kushis, right? If you in Bavli is mechashakim shivani. It says it's in darkness. What's darkness? Meaning there's questions, back and forth, challenges, issues. Yerushalmi is Yashar. You look into Talmud Yerushalmi, you see the whole shaklavataria of the Gemara in Bavli style is not there. Because the light and the energy of Yerushalayim and Eretz Yisrael, Marava and all that is clear. Halavai. Halavai today would be that way. But anyway, compared to Bavli is B'machashakim Shavani. Reb Zayda, he wants to learn Yerushalmi, he has to do something drastic. He has to forget Bavli. What does it mean? He has to forget the DNA of the Bavli approach. If he goes about learning Yerushalmi with the Bavli brains, he's never going to learn Yerushalmi properly. He never will identify with Yerushalmi. And this is such a powerful thought in our lives. When one seeks to really attain something that's completely different, a different category, you can't come in with the same boots and pants. It doesn't work. And the same brains and the same heart. You have to make what we call in psychology a paradigm shift. In your own mind, you say that what was till now is like a different world. For whatever reason, I had to go through that. You have to change your thinking that it's a new situation and really work on living that way and thinking that way. The Alter Rebbe says here, this is what explains this pasuk, Sheva Yipul Tzadik V'Kom. In order for a tzaddik to get to another higher level, he had to first kind of lose his lower level to appreciate the higher level. Because the aliyos by a tzaddik are bli gvul, are infinite. So he's going from one level of infinity to another level. It's not like going one step up to the other step. It's two different experiences, two different categories. Says the Alter Rebbe. Give me a second, Chavah, give me a second. Says the Alter Rebbe. There's another part to the end of the verse. Ki yipoil lo yutal. When he falls from the first level, going to the second, lo yutal, it won't be removed completely. And this is also very important. In other words, as much as we say there has to be a forgetting of the first level, but not that the first level doesn't exist anymore. There always needs to, ki yipoil lo yutal. There won't be a removal of it completely. So why do we call it a nefila, a downfall, a falling? If you compare it to the higher level, we're talking about tzaddikim. So the fall of a tzaddik is the fall of a tzaddik is the high for us. Like the story, what they told you with the Rimonv tzaddik, and the other tzaddik, I forget now, he's coming back from Tashlich, and he says, where are you running to? He says, Rabbi, I'm running to pick up your Avedis. The Avedis of the Rebbe is the mitzvahs of the Chassid. So I'm running to get them. For me, they're mitzvahs. The same idea over here. The nefila, the Sheva Yipul Tzadik V'Kom of the Tzadik, for us, is mitzvahs. But for the tzaddik, it's a nefila. So that's why he's saying, because nevertheless, notwithstanding these type of nefilas that the tzaddik has, he's still way above the average person with his service to Hashem. Because he still has a remnant left from his first tzaddik level, right? 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when he's on level 4, and there's he wants to go to level 5, level 4 still has some remnant that makes an impact on him. However, look what it says. But the Alter Rebbe says, you know what sustains the tzaddik to not give up? You imagine this is a tzaddik who's living with this bliss and this kedusha, and then the tzaddik has a yerida. Why shouldn't he give up? Says the Alter Rebbe, he doesn't give up because of the ava that he had in his youth, meaning before he became a tzaddik. What a thought. Look further. It's because of the ava that he had from his youth. Before he became a tzaddik, that's why it says, even when he'll be older, Moshe, the pasuk that you love so, even when he will older, and the question was, why not? The answer is because this ava of the youth, i.e., the generated meditative ava that we spoke about, the ava shemis, that's what he's calling now the ava of the youth. will even will always be a constant. And this is the point. The tzaddikim, with all of the levels, they have Yeridas and Aliyahs in their tzaddikim level, but and therefore there's ups and downs, but the Ava Menuurav, which is the Ava Shenis, is a constant. And since it's a constant, it gives them the click, the push to be on the right path always. So now the Alter Rebbe connects this to the Shara Yichud Emunah, which we're about to begin next week. He says amongst the first issues that awaken the Ava and Yira, the love and the fear that a Jew needs to serve God, the Yesodon hi Emunah Ta'ira. It's pure Emunah, v'nemona, and loyal Emunah, b'yechudai, regarding the unity, v'achdusai, and joy, and being together, Yisbarach v'Yisala of Hashem, who is blessed and is exalted. Meaning to say, Emunah is what gets the Yid to soar. But to get to Emunah, you need Ava and Yira. And to get to Ava and Yira, you need this abundance of Seichel. That's Chabad Chassidus. That's why this is the introduction. So what we walk away with for this introduction is that if you're missing the Hizbonenus Shenis, your Ava and Yira will be missing. And if your Ava and Yira is missing, your Emunah is missing. And this is a very different way than the way, most Yidden look at it. Emunah, believe. Well, I have to have feelings for belief. I have to understand God. That's why the next 12 chapters, Shara Yichud Emunah, which are, loaded deep intellectual and issues of reconciling Hashem and the world and the universe and ourselves and everything else, and the names of God and the Yehudim, everything is there, right? It's all to develop a feeling. And the purpose of a feeling is so that the Emunah is animated. I think I told you once, there is smart Emunah and there's foolish Emunah. There's Emunah like a Chochem and there's Emunah like a Tippish. Now again, the bottom line is put your tefillin on in the morning, put a mezuzah up, have Ahavas Yisrael, give tzedakah, visit someone. But for that to continue, you need to feed it. There's a pasuk Urei Emunah. Urei from the word mare. Feed Emunah. What do you mean feed Emunah? Have Emunah. Chassidus Chabad, Alter Rebbe, especially Kutei Torah and Torah, spends a lot of time on this pasuk Urei Emunah. You have to feed Emunah, and I'm telling you, Chevra, especially now, don't you see how you have to be Urei Emunah? It's a question. What's going on over here? Here we are, people learning together, taking of our time, doing our best, raising families, helping. So what is going? You have to Re'ei Emunah. You have to, and how do you do Re'ei Emunah? By having a feeling of love for God and awe for God, Ava and Yira, right? But that itself needs something to trigger it. Otherwise, the Ava is not real Ava. It's a shallow Ava. We're talking about real love for Hashem. And not even talking about now, by the way, we're not talking about levels of tzaddikim now. We're talking about us, which the Beinani. Remember, I told you, this is a chelik sheni. L'kuti Amorim chelik sheni means it's a chelik sheni to l'kuti Amorim chelik rishon, which is called Sefer Shel Beinanim. That means that all these ideas in Shara Yichud Emunah that we're going to learn are also applicable to the Beinani. That's why the Alter Rebbe emphasizes it, Vashenis. The tzaddikim level, leave for them. This is not a book for tzaddikim. Alter Rebbe, doesn't need to write a manual for tzaddikim. Tzaddikim will take care of themselves. The Shpola Zayda and the Magid and all the tzaddikim, the Melech and the Chayzer B'Leblin and all the tzaddikim, on and on. We're not worried about them. I think they know what to do. But we, the average person that has a nefesh habamis, has a yetzer hara, has struggles, has issues, has questions. How do we develop a real Aval Hashem? And the answer is, it's Purim time coming, Chevra. And what is Purim? Purim is about Pur. Bad Chassidus explains, the Rebbe especially, Maimonim explains, it's about the lottery. What's the lottery? The lottery is an experience that's called transcendent. L'mayla mitam v'das. It's a lottery. In other words, there's a part of every Yid's neshama that goes beyond tam v'das. And again, but that itself, to appreciate that, saying it is nothing. To feel it is when after you've learned and after you've davened and after you've meditated, at the end you come and say, you know what? Hashem is l'mayla mitam v'das. Yoini, you want to say something, please?
Yeah, basically, it's an example would be is if you grew up a Litvak and you started to learn about Chassidus, you have to unlearn a lot of the stuff that you did as a Litvak because you got to unlearn something or to learn something new, because it's like opening the pores, opening up places that you never. The thought process, the hashkafa, it's a very different hashkafa, different path.
And to echo your words, there was a famous chassid at Tzemach Tzedek. His name was Rashbatz, Shmuel Betzalo, and he was a Litvisher, a Besnagid, talking about the 1800s, and he became a chassid, and they beat him. He writes his own memoirs. He got klep, so he said, "I had to get klep, because for a Litvak to become a chassid, they need to knock a lot of stuff out of you, and I got it through the clip." So today, no, we're not going around giving clip, but absolutely. I mean, this is we had over the years, and probably you guys know too, but chevra that came from real Litvish yeshivas, and they had some, and they were learners, but they had real, and they took a lot, and they had to clop it out. And that's why those guys are the most fabrente Lubavitchers. They're the most passionate Lubavitchers, are the Litvaks that became Chabadniks, But
Rabbi Pharaoh used to be a
yeah, Rabbi Pharaoh grew up in a Litvish environment, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yes, Moshe.
Rabbi Dalfin, the pasuk we're in Emunah. This is the pasuk. I'm sorry, I zoned out for a second, but I lost you. This is the pasuk from Tehillim Lamed Zayin. I don't know if it's the same reference.
Read the pasuk.
The pasuk is B'tach b'Hashem v'aseh tov shtachin eretz urei Emunah.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Moshe, for finding the pasuk. That's the pasuk. Urei Emunah. How does he spell Urei over there?
Yeah. With Urei is Vav Reish Ayin Hey.
Oh, not Urei Vav Reish Ayin Aleph Hey, which means see Emunah. Ayin Hey from the word Roeh, pasture.
Right. Yeah.
Roeh Neman. Moshe is called the Roeh Neman.
Yeah.
Chaim Zev, what are your thoughts this morning listening to this?
It's very nice. I don't think I've ever learned this before, this new concept. So I'm looking forward to next week.
Okay. But I want to encourage you, Chaim. I know it's a weekend of Purim, Shalchmanis and everything. If you have a chance, either lessons in Tanya or see this. There's no see this Muveris on this. But there are a few Sfarim both in English and Lashon Kodesh that I think will help. Because there's a lot more to say here. I just kept it for now the way it is. Otherwise, again, we'll be here for 5 weeks. I can give you 5 weeks of shiurim on this Hakdama. And I don't want to do that right now. This way, when we learn it in Mitzvah Shem, when we're 80 years old, all of us, and we'll be well, we'll learn again the Hagdama. Chevra, have a great Purim. Mashiach should come. And, the question is about Monday. Monday, you guys you have like Purim things. What?
Yeah, it's Shushan Purim.
Yeah, I think let's reconvene Tuesday.
Okay, so we'll the next year will be Tuesday. This way everyone can sober up. And remember, drinking like a wild animal is not acceptable. And the whole purpose is to reach a place of lo yoda between Ora and Mar, meaning for Hashem. So, and practically you could say enough l'chaim till you fall asleep. If you want to be Yotze Shulchan Aruch, it says that's also considered doing the mitzvah. And just keep an eye out that young kids should, not get themselves, stoned and hurt themselves. Keep your eye out for that, and be careful who you pour mashka to. It shouldn't be a free for all. It's really. I must say, in the last few years here in Borough Park, it feels like it's been reduced a little bit. It's calmed down. The last 2-3 years, and the Rabbonim and Mashpiyim and Rebbes and rabbis have I think spoken more about it, and they're encouraging people not to just go into any house because of tznius. So there's some good things. So I'm sure in Bet Shemesh, it's a Flatbush, Teaneck, community, and all kinds.
Wild, yeah.
It's wild. I know it's wild, but you gotta, what?
They come from Yerushalayim, all the yeshivas, the seminaries.
They come because they know they'll get money there, huh? Well, Moshe, you're a gabbai, Yodi, you're a gabbai, whatever you guys are involved there, so make sure that, try your best. Listen, you can't control, but, open bottles, shouldn't be left around. I don't have to tell you, and even at your table, you know what I'm saying? And by the way, technically, the mitzvah is on wine, not on scotch and vodka. The Suda was with wine, you know what I'm saying? So it takes a lot more to get shikar from wine. So maybe the answer is not to have any alcohol out, vodka and scotch, and just to have wine. Anyway, I don't have to tell you, you're all, smart and intelligent, and you'll do your best. Avram, what's the good word? I don't hear a word from you, Avram. Was sagst du?
Well, Rabbi Dalfin, just like I was a non-Jew, then I became a Litvak, then I became a Hasid. I had a lot of work to do.
Remember what I said? That was the past. You needed to go through that. But that's past. And you got to have that paradigm shift. This is who I am today. This is my neshama. The past was the past. Reb Chaim, was sagt dir, Reb Chaim? Chaim Bachner, my friend, was sagst du?
Ich suche das lernt when I hear, when I say.
Okay.
Aber auch the loyota, you have to be by a das, you have to be loyota.
Right. You have to be by a das to appreciate loyota.
Able to be loyota.
Right, yeah. Okay, Chevra, have a great day, and a good Shabbos, and a good Shabbos Zocher, Amalek, Zocher Timchas Amalek, aber Rabbi upmecken, good upmecken, erase him well, erase Amalek well, and then Purim, L'chaim, have a great day, everyone, great week, and we'll see everyone Tuesday, Chag Sameach Tuesday, Chevra, Tuesday, Chag Sameach, take care, bye-bye.